Before we start, warning. Spoilers ahead. Today, I'm going to recap a 2019 Korean drama comedy movie called Inseparable Brothers. This movie is about a physically disabled man and mentally disabled man being attached and getting along together since they were in an orphanage. As they are becoming adults, there are lots of trials ahead. So, how do they complement each other? Will they manage to keep everything in line? Let's find it out. It all starts when Sehar, a quadriplegic child who is paralyzed and can't sense any pain, is ditched to an orphanage by his uncle after his mother has passed away. The orphanage is called House of Responsibility as the priest, who manages the orphanage, believes since we've been born we have a responsibility to live until the end. Sehar sets eyes on everyone at the orphanage and notices Dong-gu, a boy who has a mental age of a 5-year-old, that is being bullied by the rest of the orphanage children. Can't stand seeing Dong-gu being bullied, he says that the bully can pick on him as well. The bully hits Sehar with a rock until he bleeds severely. The bully, who is also mentally unstable, feels guilty by the blood coming from Sehar's forehead and never teases them ever again. One day, priest brings all of the orphanage children to a family picnic event. Turns out, the event is held so the priest can gather some money from the sponsors for the orphanage to survive. While the priest tries to entertain the sponsors, Sehar falls down to the lake because Dong-gu unintentionally kicks the stone which should keep Sehar's wheelchair steady. Dong-gu jumps into the lake and helps Sehar as soon as he notices. As time goes by, Sehar and Dong-gu become very close. Dong-gu helps Sehar to do any kind of physical activity such as cleaning, eating, and turning him around at night because he is paralyzed and can't do it by himself. On the flip side, Sehar teaches Dong-gu patiently about daily life interaction. Sehar used to hate priest's behavior of doing any job to raise funds. Some time later, priest dies and the orphanage residents assist each other to keep on living. As they remember what priest always says, the weak always help each other. Day by day, these two men try to complement each other. Dong-gu becomes Sehar's hands and legs. Sehar becomes Dong-gu's brain. Even though they live in fragile economies, Sehar takes good care of his mentally disabled friends. He always comes up with a really good idea yet in a controversial way, just like how the priest did. He utilizes his disabled friends and sells illegal volunteer documents such as documentation, volunteer reports, and even translates it for their performance assessment to apply for any kind of job or school admission. A public official comes and exposes the illegal documentation as it looks like an exploitation of the disabled people. Comes out, public official is Sehar's junior in college who should be raising the funds. The donation has been cut off due to the priest's death and everyone will be separated to different facilities. Sehar is thinking out loud to find the best solution for this orphanage's fate and his relationship with Dong-gu. Meanwhile, Dong-gu keeps on asking Sehar to go to the sports center. Since he is eager to swim, Sehar grants his wish. As they arrive, there is a swimming tournament being held. They meet Mi-hyun, a part-timer at the sports center, and ask her to let Dong-gu swim. Mi-hyun refuses because the event is about to start. But then, the tournament starts and Dong-gu jumps straight to the pool. It makes the competition chaotic. Even though Mi-hyun has stopped Dong-gu, she still got kicked out of her job. Later on, Sehar asks Mi-hyun to meet up. He asks Mi-hyun to be Dong-gu's swimming coach as he realizes the winning prize is really big so it might cover up the orphanage rent bill. After a long negotiation, Mi-hyun agrees to be Dong-gu's coach. Even after being coached by Mi-hyun, Dong-gu can't attend the competition because they are 5 minutes late for the registration. They've tried everything they could to persuade the committee so they can join the competition, but nothing succeeded. Sehar, the smartass, always gets what he wants. With his cunning strategy, he asked the three of them to act like they've been humiliated by the committee. It is a big success, even the media try to reach them out to do the interview. Then, the competition day arrives. At first, Dong-gu leads the competition by being in first place. But then he stops in the middle of competition and doesn't finish the race. Sehar is furious and keeps yelling at Dong-gu until he throws a tantrum at the public space. Afterwards, Dong-gu promises to do better and finish the race in the next competition. At night, Dong-gu explains why he stopped in the middle of the competition. He remembered the day his mother abandoned him. He then reassures Seha that he will never leave him. Just like any other day, the orphanage residents are playing around on the field. Then, the youth department barges in and brings them to another facility since the orphanage is about to be demolished tomorrow morning. They keep begging to live together, even Dong-gu says that the priest won't abandon one another. However, there is nothing more that Seha can do. Eventually, the orphanage residents are escorted to another facilities. As Seha and Dong-gu have applied for independence, they won't join the other residents and live with their old friend, the official. Seha doesn't want to be a burden to official, so he applies for the apartment lottery. Since they have a disability, they have a big chance of being selected for the affordable housing lottery. They are very happy and celebrate it by watching movies together. They play around while they are waiting for the movie to start. Even Seha laughs out loud as Mi-hyun pushes him around, which makes Dong-gu jealous. When they arrive at home, Dong-gu's mother appears and asks Dong-gu to come home with her. Seha accuses mother of coming only for the renunciation of inheritance. Can't bear with the accusation, mother accuses Seha back of abusing Dong-gu by always taking advantage of him. Mother tries another way and convinces Dong-gu to come home with her. Turns out, Dong-gu still holds a grudge with mother and leaves her as she grieves. On the next day, mother applies to be Dong-gu's guardian because she insists on getting his custody. Seha doesn't want to give up just like that as he knows Dong-gu wants to live with him instead of his mother. But no matter how hard Seha tries to teach Dong-gu to express his own choice, Dong-gu with the mental age of a 5-year-old struggles a lot. At the court, official who has known Seha and Dong-gu for years defends Seha and testifies that they complement each other superbly. On the other hand, mother brings a testifier, the one who has helped Seha to translate the illegal documents, to support her plea. It makes Seha being doubted to be Dong-gu's legal guardian by the judge. The judge decides to adjourn the session until tomorrow. At home, while they are having dinner, mother comes to visit them. She brings a lot of food for Dong-gu. Seha doesn't like the idea that she comes without any notification beforehand. Mother yells at Seha, but then Dong-gu protects him and asks her not to shout at his brother. On the next day, they resume the court session. This time, it's mother's turn to spend time with Dong-gu. Dong-gu sees Seha gets along with Mi-hyun and official from afar, which makes him restless. Not much later, the session starts. Mother confesses that she abandoned him because his father had died and she couldn't take care of him on her own. After that, it's Seha's turn to testify. He is cornered with lots of annoying questions, but he manages to counter it with really smart answers. He states the weak must help each other. If he uses Dong-gu, so does Dong-gu to him. Finally, it's Dong-gu's time to choose which side he prefers to be with. Ironically, Dong-gu points out mother to live with, which disappoints Seha badly. Dong-gu says farewell to Seha, Mi-hyun and official. He makes sure once again that Seha will be okay without him and leaves with a heavy heart. Dong-gu lives his life peacefully with his new family. His family treats him really well, even though he hasn't gotten used to living without Seha. Until one day, Mi-hyun comes to visit him at mother's restaurant. He asks about Seha's condition. Dong-gu is surprised that Seha no longer lives either with Mi-hyun or official, unlike what he believes. He reacts to it by showing another episode of his tantrum. As a result, Dong-gu can't concentrate on his days and keeps on being reminded of Seha. Due to the condition, he accidentally puts mother's restaurant on fire and gets away during the commotion. He pulls over a taxi but does not know how to communicate. Until the taxi driver sees his shirt written Dongdaemun Sports Center and brings him there. Unfortunately, the sports center is closed. Dong-gu is really clueless and has nowhere to go. He sees a trolley cart and starts to push it around. It feels like he pushes his brother around just like old times. He keeps walking and arrives at the house of responsibility unconsciously. Everything has been destroyed and demolished. He threw a major throwback in this place with his friends, especially Seha. He finds the old calendar where they have marked his promise to do well on the next competition. He cries and ends up staying overnight there. Mother searches for Dong-gu and calls Seha as well. Sehar is enraged after hearing how mother is really reckless in taking care of Donggu. At night, Sehar is awake. He is about to make a phone call to notify mother and tries to reach the phone with his mouth. As a result, he lays on his stomach and can't get his body to turn around. He can't breathe and faints after some time. Fortunately, he is rescued to the hospital in time. He asks official to tell mother that Donggu might be at the house of responsibility. With Sehar's information, mother immediately goes to the orphanage and picks Donggu up at the right time. On the competition day, Mihyun asks Sehar to come. Sehar turns down Mihyun's invitation. He chooses to learn how to use the electric wheelchair instead. However, Sehar sees lots of things that remind him of Donggu. He gets triggered and immediately goes to the sports center with his electric wheelchair. He doesn't care about any worst case that can get to him. Unfortunately, he still lacks control of his new electric wheelchair and got into an accident. As a last resort, he struggles to send a voice message to Mihyun saying that mother should be on the end of the finish line as Donggu has always been longing for mother to come back. At the other location, Donggu is nervous about his competition. He starts the race flawlessly. In the middle of the race, Donggu stunts once more and recalls the day when mother abandoned him. Now, mother who he used to await is already on the finish line. Yet, he doesn't move an inch. It looks like he is still waiting for another person. Finally, Sehar appears and Donggu continues and successfully completes his race. Sehar is really touched and happy to see Donggu again. Donggu comes to Sehar and says that he keeps his promise to do well in the next competition. At last, he really did. In the end, mother gives in and lets Donggu live with Sehar in their new apartment. Eventually, they are able to live happily once more with Mihyun as their new member. It turns out, when they were a child, Sehar didn't fall by accident, yet he chose to drown himself as he was jealous with the other abled kids. But then, Donggu chased after Sehar and saved his life, resulting in their thicker-than-blood relationship as unrelated brothers. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like and comment to help the channel out. Thank you for watching, and may you have a joyful holiday this Christmas and New Year season.